Hey, Arcana, finally have your critique ready to go. I thank you for your patience on that. And I have everything side by side, your reference photo, and then your actual sketch. So we'll go through this and compare and contrast and see what's working for it, and then what you can do to improve the sketch and get the likeness and any other aspects a little more accurate and get a good foundation for your painting. So let me zoom in a little bit on the reference photo. And I'm going to particularly concentrate on the details of the face. I think that's the most important part. And I'm going to pull up my drawing tool. And then let's just compare and see what we have here. I think overall, like I said, you've done the pose very well. That's turned out excellently. Composition looks good overall in the picture, but right now I want to pay attention to the angles of the face. So, as I mentioned in the Facebook post, it seemed like the angle was slightly off, and that's easy enough to do because we usually take things that are angled and we try to line them up and make them symmetrical and even. I notice that with artists all the time, and I catch myself doing it too. So we're in this boat together. But we often take things that are asymmetrical, angled, maybe irregular to some degree, and we try to even them up because it's just human nature to organize our world. But in life, things are random and there's angles, and so we need to pay attention to those different angles within a face. And so a good thing to do is to take a straight edge, a ruler, and you want to look at the eyes and the way they line up and the eyebrow ridge. And we can see there's an angle here in the face, something like that. And then we have, the ear right here. So there's a certain perspective going down, and you have the roundness of the skull. Of course, we have the hair there that sticks out further past the skull. But this is, the shape that we want to see. And the head is tilted. So the axis of the face obviously is changed. This is going to be kind of that midpoint, maybe even a little steeper than that, maybe even more like this. And so we do want to get that axis changed. Now here on yours, if we were to draw a straight line running through the eyes, it's a little hard for me to draw with a mouse. You'll have to bear with me here, but this is kind of the axis that we have in yours. It's close, but we need to have more of a tilt on this portion here. That color really vibrates with the gray, doesn't it? I'm gonna erase that. Okay, so what you want to do is you want to bring this eye up a little bit higher. Now, I don't see any grid lines here on your photo, so I can't tell exactly where it's supposed to match up that way against the grid, but just by eye, it looks like the eye could go up a little higher. The eyebrow, now if we take the top portion of the eyebrow, we can see where that would line up, so that could go up here. But again, bring that portion up. Maybe that makes it hard to see in that color. Let's try this. You bring this up. This eyebrow could come up a little bit. It could go a little further. And then there's even this little portion of the wrinkle by the eye that could come out. This eye is going to be elongated a little bit. It's in perspective, so we're just seeing that portion of it very, very thin. The eyebrows tend to look thinner as the head goes down because they're foreshortened. And so you want to make sure that you have, especially on this side, the eyebrow is going to be thinner and it's going to run right up into that angle of the head. I think you did the detail on the nose and mouth pretty well. Actually, yeah, I think you did it very well. And as you bring the eye up a little higher, that is going to help elongate the nose a little bit. So I bring that up, like I say, higher. The eyebrow actually can reach a little further down. And one thing to notice is as the head tilts downward, the ears go up. If a person is looking up, the opposite is true, then ears drop down. Because normally, you know, if you have a head that's just straight on, you know, you're going to have your ears kind of in the center, you know, and you're going to have your eyes, you know, your nose, the mouth area like that. But then as somebody were to look downward, here I'm drawing all over your picture, as they would look downward, then that changes. And, you know, this area becomes foreshortened, the ears kind of stay in the center, but the features of the face are going to go downward, you know, and then as somebody would look upward, and bear with me here, it's a little difficult here again to draw with the mouse, then the ears are going to drop down, you know, the eyes are kind of going to be up here, you're going to have the bottom of the nose and the mouth, and then the jawline, and so forth. So you can kind of see that shift, how that works. All right, so I think that kind of gives you an idea with my very crude drawings of how the ears shift. I'm going to clear that off, but again, just to say that you would want to move the ears higher up, and I think that'll really, really help. So the bottom of the ear should line up just above the top of the eyebrow. And again, we are going to move, you know, the eyes up a little bit. You can scroll back in your video if you want to see that drawing again, and just pause it. You can a little trick for you. You can actually on your keyboard, you can hit Control, print screen. There's a button, Control in the lower left of your keyboard, which I'm sure you know that. But in the upper right, there's a print screen button. I think in most keyboards it has that. Mine has print screen, excuse me, system request, SYSRQ. If you hit that button, you can then copy, and that will actually copy your picture, and then you can go to a paint program or any program where you can, I think Windows has like a paint program. If you just type paint in the search box, and then their paint program will pop up, and then you can actually go and hit Control V to paste it, and you can actually paste the image. So you can pause the video anywhere in progress. You can paste the image if you want to see a still shot, see a still shot of anything I'm showing within these critiques. Or you can just pause it on your screen and you can just refer to it that way, whatever works for you. But anyway, just to say, to have the ears up higher, you want to have then the hair sticking out a little thicker in the back, and maybe a little higher on the top. Maybe. You have to refer to your reference photo. But then you have that lock coming down. The main thing I'd like to see, though, is that you would have the eyes and the angle of the eyes raised up. Okay, so I think I've made that pretty clear. Now I'm going to zoom out, and my wife tells me I tend to over-explain things a little bit and elaborate on stuff more than I should, but I guess that's maybe either my personality or that's just being an artist. I don't know which. Okay, looking at the rest, I did mention to you in the Facebook comments that I thought the hand was a little bit too thin. You see the thickness of these fingers here, and so you want to make that a little bit thicker, okay? And all the fingers should be a little bit thicker as well. And this is a baby, you know, and they usually have kind of chubbier fingers, and so yeah, I think you might want to do that. Maybe not quite that much, but just a little bit thicker than what you have. And then looking at the angles here, yeah, that looks good overall. Now you want to make sure you have the foot in there accurately and define this leg. That could get lost a little bit, but as you get closer, you can kind of see the edge of the fabric. I don't want to see you losing the edge of the leg there as you paint it. It looks like this is actually the edge of that fabric right here. Okay. And then this is the other foot and the edge of the ankle. And then this kind of comes around. So you want to make sure you get these angles. These are important to show the perspective of how the leg is coming out. You want to get these sharper angles and get them adjusted a little bit. Okay, and then make sure you have, like I show you here, the actual edge of that fabric, so that when people see it, they know, okay, this is in fact, you know, a leg here, and it's not just, you know, a sheet or something draped over an object. Okay, so that'll be very important to get those angles in there. Now, let's see here, moving over, I would also define the edge of the arm a little bit more. That's very important. I think those angles are pretty good on the clothing. And move this off. Now, move this over a bit more. Here on the arm, really pay attention to some of these angles here. It's hard to see because, you know, the photos are a little blurry. You got these different patterns on the clothing, you know, these little, whatever you call them, I don't know, graphics. But you have those on there, and that's going to make it hard to see the wrinkles, but still there's some wrinkles in here, and so you want to see some of these angles like this, and this, and this. Some of these angles within here. This is a really important angle to capture this edge of this fabric, so this needs to be well defined, and then some of those other angles as well. All right, so I think that will finish up my critique for you, Arcana, and so I hope this is helpful for you. Let me know how it helps. And then lastly, I'd just like to ask a quick blessing on your portrait, something I've been doing for my students for a while now, and they seem to appreciate it. So just going to ask a blessing, and then I'll let you get back to your painting. Again, thank you so much for waiting on this critique. I think now we finally have the system ironed out. If you post it on Facebook, send me a message if you don't hear back from me, you know, within a couple hours. And then while I'm working, I have a Kindle that I paint from, and I actually have my photo references on the Kindle. And when students message me, I'll get little notifications that'll pop up on my screen, and that'll let me know that, you know, you have a critique that you need done. But I try to get them done within 24 hours. So just let me know if you need any help, and I think that system will work. So Father, I ask you to bless this painting here that Arcana is working on, and enable her to make the changes that I pointed out, help her to see the different proportional guidelines, you know, the angle of the head, and the adjusting some of the features in the face, and then some of the areas with the clothing, and anything else, Lord, that you would show her as she looks at this reference photo. Let her see those things that need to be adjusted and added in, or even omitted. But I pray that this painting would be a great blessing to her and to everyone that sees it. So I just ask you to guide her hands and help her to paint it with joy, and yeah, just bless her in Jesus' name. Amen. All right, so Arcana, let me know how this helps, and then keep in touch on the progress, and send me a message to let me know if you need any other critiques. All right, so I look forward to seeing your progress on this in the group, and God bless. We'll talk to you soon.